So Facebook is routinely being hit with a myriad of lawsuits from anyone and everyone in regards to the way that they operate their business, right? In regards to how much information they have on all their users, on all that type of stuff. However, just recently, they have been hit with their biggest lawsuit to date. You may have heard about it, you may have not, but in this video, I'm going to walk you through what the lawsuit entails, why, the reasoning behind it, and what it means for us as advertisers. If you run an agency, you run your own e-commerce brands, you run maybe you've got a local business that you run ads for or whatever. And I'm also gonna go through exactly what it means for us as advertisers, whether you own your own social media marketing agency, like majority of you will, or maybe you own your own e-commerce businesses, you own your own local businesses, whatever it is, I'm gonna go through what it means for us as advertisers, whether we should stop running ads, keep running ads, what the course of action should be. Now guys, as always, just before we continue in the video, make sure you go ahead, smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. Massively, massively, massively helps out with the YouTube algorithm. With that being said, let's jump straight into the video. So essentially the DOJ, the Department of Justice, announced that they have been hit with a lawsuit and they're being sued by the federal and state governments. Almost, I think I read 46 states as well as the federal government are suing Facebook. The reasoning behind it, okay, is because Facebook apparently actioning on anti-competitive laws. So what that means is that basically anytime any competition rises towards Facebook, they put Facebook in danger, quote unquote. What Facebook does essentially at that point is they either buy that company out or they'll just suppress that company and they'll essentially put them out of business by leveraging all of the power that they've got, right? And so what that does is it basically makes Facebook a monopoly, which is seen as a huge, huge no-no in the eyes of the law. And so essentially what that means that they're doing is that they're abusing their power. They've got all this power and they're abusing it. At least this is in the eyes of the law, right? They're abusing all of that power and basically not having the customer's best interest at heart. That's what the law sees, and that's why they've actioned on this lawsuit. And essentially as well, what their main goal is at coming out of this lawsuit, the reason for this lawsuit, in order for the government to look at this lawsuit as a success, at the end of it, what they're looking for is basically wanting a restructure of the social networking marketplace, because at the moment, again, in the eyes of the law, Facebook is, there's only one player, right? Facebook owns Instagram, Facebook, obviously, and WhatsApp. Like, they're the three biggest players in social networking right now, and Facebook owns them all. So, essentially what kind of stems from that is the fact that, there's no competition, right? Competition is so good for the end consumer, right? That's why you've got all of these different, supermarkets and shops and whatnot that all sell the same product, right? Because it's good for the end consumer, because what kind of stems from competition is competitive pricing, right? Each business wants to have the cheapest possible pricing so that they get more business, but as a byproduct of that, the customer is very much benefited. Then you've got services. The service itself is routinely getting better and better and better because each business is trying to outdo their competitors. And again, a byproduct of that, the consumer wins. And also innovation as well. Each business is trying to innovate something new, bring something new to market or whatever that can help the customer. Again, helping the customer genuinely in the best interest of the end consumer. Now, what happens when one person, one company, one just behemoth owns everything? Well, they control everything. They have all of the power. And one of the main reasons why Facebook got hit with this lawsuit is because nobody can get near Facebook, right? Every time they try, Facebook will either buy them out or they'll just suppress them, as I said, with all of their power. And that is the real issue at the moment, and that's why they've been hit with this lawsuit. So essentially what the government wants is a diversity of Facebook's assets. So they actually want WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook itself. They're the three main ones, but they do have a multitude of others, all of their audience networks and whatnot. The government wants a diversity of those assets, which essentially means each one is going to become their own entity, which then obviously means that Facebook doesn't have control over everything, which means there's going to be competition again, which means the end user at the end of the day is going to benefit more. So that's kind of the basis of the lawsuit. Obviously it goes a lot deeper, but that's kind of the main takeaways from it. Now, what does this mean as advertisers? Does this mean that you should stop running ads? Does this mean that you need to start to really look at other mediums and whatnot? What does it mean for you as the advertiser? Well, one thing you need to realize, first things first, is that this is going to be something that's going to happen over the next couple of years, right? Something of this size, like this lawsuit is the biggest of the generation, okay? This lawsuit is almost on the same level as the Microsoft lawsuit that they got hit with in 1998. Now, if you know anything about it, you'll know just the severe size of that, right? This lawsuit is on that same level. So anything of that size, right? It's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen in a couple of weeks or even in 6 months time or whatever, right? But probably not even going to see too much of the effects of this happening until, back end of 2021, okay? So that's the first thing you need to understand. You don't need to be all frantic and freak out. If you run an agency, you run Facebook ads for clients, you don't need to start, transitioning your services tomorrow because Facebook have been hit with this lawsuit. That's the first thing. It's going to evolve over a couple years. The other thing that I want to mention is that, we've seen this happen throughout the last couple years with Facebook, right? In 2015, 2016, running ads on Facebook was the easiest thing you could have ever done, okay? Running ads on Facebook was the easiest thing you could have ever done. You literally had to click 4 buttons and you was getting a 10 ROAS, okay? Now, over the years, it's gradually gotten harder and harder and harder. And I personally look at this as something that is just kind of adding to that, right? In 3 years, it's gonna get harder, and maybe this is the reason it's gonna get harder. But it's the same thing 3 years ago, right? Today, it's much, much, much harder to run Facebook ads effectively than it was 3 years ago. And so it's kind of just like, a knock-on effect, and it's something that you've got to realize and understand and expect. I'm almost looking at it as part of the process now that, it's not really fully rolled out yet, like kind of like the genuine height of this lawsuit and what's going to happen and whatnot. But I'm kind of just looking at it as a process. As I say, 3 years ago, it was much easier to run ads successfully than it is today. And I know in 3 years, it's going to be the same thing, right? And this lawsuit is kind of just going to play into that. Now, the next thing is the fact that you should never have all of your eggs in one basket anyway, no matter what, no matter how good Facebook ads are, you should never have all of your eggs in one basket. This is kind of another reason why, in Bax Consulting's mission statement, which is slightly higher level, right, for companies and whatnot, in the Quantum Leap Ecom Agency program, I don't talk about mission statements or anything like that, just because it's not needed to get from 0 to, 10,000 a month, 15,000 a month, which is the main goal of that program. Whereas in Centurion Agency, I talk a lot about mission statements because it's very, very important that you have a strong mission statement in place for your company, right? Because that's going to enable you to attract really high talent to come on as team members. And also it's going to enable you to attract a very, very high level of a client, right? If you've got a strong mission statement. And so that's why I put so much emphasis on it in the Centurion Agency program, because that program takes people from, 10 to 20K a month, right? Anywhere from in the range of 10 to 20K a month with their agency, and it takes them up to 100K a month, right? That's the goal of that program. And so it's needed at that level. Now, aside from the Bax Consulting's mission statement is to be Earth's most results-driven e-com and info product marketing agency, and to raise the, quote-unquote, I've been burnt in the past conversation that all founders have. Now, within that mission statement, there is nowhere that I mention Facebook ads, even social media marketing or anything like that. Now, why is that? Because if I did, it's gonna go against the whole purpose of that statement, which is to be the, Earth's most results-driven e-com and info product marketing agency. Now, I wanna triple down on what's gonna get my clients the best results. I don't care if that's Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, WhatsApp, radio, billboard ads. I don't care. I just want to get my clients the best results possible. Now, at the moment, that's Facebook ads, okay? Facebook and Instagram ads right now is what's working the absolute best for e-com and info product brands, okay? Info product, YouTube starting to really take over as well, but you get my point, okay? And so my point from saying all of that is to always remember to never ever get too hooked on one platform. Right now, it's almost like people look at Facebook ads as like the only way to get client results. Like, if you don't run Facebook ads, you can't get client results. And it's just not like that, right? You've got Google ads and YouTube ads as well. They're huge, huge players. And as I say, info products right now, YouTube ads are actually doing really, really well. And so, you need to always be looking at what's bringing in the best results. If Facebook dips, it's going to be, it's just better if they don't dip, right? And if the results stay amazingly well, but it looks as though it's not going to happen, right? For over the course of the next year, 2 years, Facebook may not be actually bringing in the best results possible. Now, if that happens, my point with all of saying this is to not obviously you need to worry, you need to put time into it, you need to find a different medium. But the thing is that there is other mediums out there. It's not just Facebook. A lot of the time, as I said before, people look at Facebook as like the be all and end all, right? If Facebook doesn't work, what am I gonna do? It's just not like that, okay? So start now, okay? Start while you don't need to. However, kind kind of piggybacking off of that, you don't want to look at what we're talking about here, like in terms of your service, what's going to bring in the best client results. You don't want to focus on that when it hurts. You know, when clients start to drop off because Facebook isn't working anymore, you don't want to then start worrying about it, you know, because it's going to be too late at that point. You're going to have a huge lull within your agency. Start looking at it now. Start looking at other mediums. Start maybe even bringing clients on board for other mediums, but just do ROAS only deals, right? So there's no risk on their end. You don't want to charge a client 5K up from flat monthly fee for and to deliver a service that you're not overly confident in. However, as I say, if you do ROAS deal, I mean, you're both winning and you can kind of test out, right? With a small budget, nobody's losing. Start having a look at that, because as I say, there will be a point that some other medium, whether we know about it or not, it may be a completely new company, or it may be YouTube or Google or whatever, they at some point may actually start to outperform Facebook ads. And as I say, you must make sure that you make that leap, because I mean, for us at least at Backs and Toolting, as I say, our main mission is to be Earth's most results-driven e-com and info product marketing agency. And so we're gonna follow wherever the results are. And if that's not Facebook ads, then it's not Facebook ads, but at least we're willing to make that jump. And so my point with this video is to, you know, really kind of drill that into you guys as well, is to not be too emotionally attached to Facebook, because that's been the talk of the town for the past however many years. So overall, as a complete overview, there's nothing you need to worry about like at a very high level right now. You don't need to be all frantic saying to clients that you need to move to YouTube or this or that, but just make sure you keep it in the back of your mind, because I do believe it's going to get to a point, okay, where Facebook ads aren't the best medium, but you don't want to wait till that point till you make the transition. You want to be ahead of the curve. You want to be first to market, right? Well, not first to market, you always want to be second, but you get my point, okay? So overall, don't read the title of this video. I know it was clickbait, I apologize, but it did get you to watch the video, so I hope that you are glad that you made the decision to watch the video. I hope it brought some sort of value to you. If it did, as always, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.